The Haunting of Poinsett Bridge.
You're driving down a dark, winding road, drenched in the heavy rainfall of a late-night storm. The kind of storm that makes the road slick and your heart race. Every turn you make, feeling like it could be your last. That was Lucy's night. She was heading to Greenville to visit her boyfriend, but she was about to drive into a nightmare she would never forget. She had heard the rumors about Poinsett Bridge, the whispers of strange occurrences and ghostly sightings, but, like most people, Lucy brushed them off as nothing more than local superstitions. That is, until she found herself stranded at the bridge on a rainy night, alone and vulnerable. Lucy's car sputtered and came to a stop, and no matter how many times she turned the key, it wouldn't start. Confused and unsettled, she got out to inspect the engine. Everything appeared fine, but the car wouldn't budge. Panic set in. There was no one else on the road, and the air around her felt heavier with every passing second. Her mind raced as she weighed her options. The closest place for help was across the bridge, so she decided to make her way across the eerie structure. The moonlight cast a ghostly glow on the old stone, creating shadows that danced unnaturally, like something watching her from the darkness. She called out, her voice echoing into the night, but no response came. Panic clawed at her chest as she realized how isolated she truly was. The silence of the night felt suffocating, and with no cell signal to call for help, the fear of being completely alone on that haunted bridge started to sink in. And that's when she heard it. A faint voice in the distance. At first, it was barely a whisper, but it grew louder, echoing through the dark night. It sounded like the crying of a child. Lucy froze, unsure if her mind was playing tricks on her. She stood still, straining her ears to make out the source. The crying led her under the bridge. There, sitting by the river, was a small girl. She couldn't have been more than 10 years old, her face buried in her hands as she sobbed uncontrollably. Lucy, relieved to find another soul in the dark, approached the girl with concern. "Hey, are you okay?" she asked softly. "What's your name?" The girl wiped her tears away and looked up, her eyes filled with sorrow. "My name is Erza," she said, her voice trembling. Lucy asked, "Erza, why are you here all alone? Where are your parents? Why are you crying?" But the girl didn't answer. Instead, she just stared into the distance, her eyes glazed over. Lucy, trying to comfort her, placed a hand on her shoulder, but the moment she did, a chill shot through her. Erza slowly turned her head, and that's when Lucy's blood ran cold. The child's neck twisted a full 360 degrees. Her face, what was left of it, was devoid of skin. Just a raw, bloodless visage that defied all logic. Lucy screamed. Terror gripped her as she staggered back, her legs shaking. She tried to run, but something stopped her. A cold force seemed to hold her in place as the twisted figure of Erza lunged toward her, her hands reaching for Lucy's throat. With every ounce of strength, Lucy sprinted toward her car, hearing Erza's maniacal laughter behind her as the ghostly figure pursued. She fumbled for her keys, her hands shaking so violently that she almost couldn't unlock the door. She finally managed to get inside, slamming the door shut just as Erza's fingers brushed against the window. But Lucy wasn't alone for long. A figure appeared out of the misty darkness. A man dressed in priestly garb, his face filled with wisdom, but also the unmistakable weight of someone who had seen too much. He asked her what had happened, and Lucy, still in shock, told him everything. The priest's face grew grim. "Erza is not just a child," he said. "She was once a vessel for something far darker, a spirit that has haunted this bridge for years." He explained that Erza's soul had been consumed by a malevolent force. Long ago, a ritual had gone wrong, and the innocent child was cursed to become a puppet of darkness. With a firm hand on Lucy's shoulder, the priest led her back to the bridge, armed with ancient prayers and rituals. Together, they recited incantations, their voices rising above the wind and rain. As the words echoed into the night, a brilliant light illuminated the bridge, shaking the earth beneath their feet. Erza's spirit was banished, but not without a cost. As the light faded, the priest smiled, but there was no joy in it. "It's over," he whispered, but Lucy knew better. Before she could leave, the ground trembled once more. A laugh, low and menacing, echoed across the bridge, freezing Lucy in her tracks. Erza reappeared, only this time, she wasn't a child anymore. Her eyes burned with an otherworldly rage, and her twisted smile revealed jagged teeth. The priest's expression faltered. "No, it can't be. This spirit, it's not one to be banished so easily. It craves vengeance." Erza's voice twisted with malice. "You thought you could save yourself? Foolish mortals. Now I will make you suffer as I have." Darkness enveloped the bridge as Erza's ghostly hands reached out, her laughter reverberating through the air. The very fabric of reality seemed to warp and twist as the bridge transformed into a nightmarish landscape of shadows. Lucy tried to run, but the ground beneath her felt like quicksand, holding her in place. Every direction she turned, Erza's twisted form appeared, relentless and unforgiving. Just when all seemed lost, another figure appeared. A second priest, wielding an ancient relic, stepped forward. He recited powerful incantations, calling upon the spirits of light to aid them. The bridge trembled, and for the first time, Erza's laughter faltered. With a final blinding burst of divine light, the darkness retreated, and Erza's form was obliterated. The bridge was silent again, save for the sound of Lucy's ragged breaths. The second priest approached her, exhausted but resolute. "You're safe now," he said quietly. "Erza's torment is finally over." But as Lucy watched, the skeletal remains of Erza's body began to glow. A soft light enveloped the skeleton, and a spirit, free from the darkness, rose into the sky, ascending towards the heavens. Lucy stood there, in awe of the peaceful moment, watching the sunrise in the distance. It was a bittersweet end to the terror she had faced. Thanks for listening to this chilling story. Don't forget to subscribe and keep an eye out for the next terrifying tale.